Hello and welcome. Following similar incidents involving Joe Biden and Donald Trump, the discovery of classified documents at the residence of former U.S. Vice President Mike Pence is raising new questions about how the government handles and protects its most sensitive secrets. 2 years after Pence and Trump left office, about a dozen classified marked papers were discovered last week in an unsecure location at Pence's Indiana residence. The Justice Department and FBI are investigating how this happened. In the meantime, Merrick Garland, the Attorney General, has appointed independent special counsels to look into approximately a dozen documents that were found at Biden's Delaware home and Pennsylvania office, as well as many thousands of documents that the FBI seized at Trump's Mar-a-Lago resort in Florida last year. Politicians and analysts have demanded tighter controls on the handling of classified documents at the end of a presidency and increased oversight of the federal agency in charge of securing and transporting them during the handover as a result of the most recent revelations. Given the number of documents that have been discovered to be in the possession of senior current and former elected officials, it is also questioned whether the United States suffers from an issue with material overclassification. As a member of the House Armed Services Committee, Florida Republican Congressman Mike Waltz stated to Fox News, "Clearly, the process is broken. We must thoroughly investigate the General Services Administration (GSA) and the intelligence community's methods for packing these documents and transporting them to the president or vice president's destination." Republicans' attempts to gain political capital from the discovery of documents from Democrat Biden's 2 terms as vice president of Obama at his home and office were thwarted by the revelation that their own party's most recent vice president, Mike Pence, also reportedly brought sensitive documents with him. The politicians in both instances maintained that they were unaware of the existence of the documents, and their lawyers immediately contacted the National Archives, which in turn notified the Justice Department. This is quite the opposite of how Trump handled more than 11,000 papers, including hundreds of classified and top-secret documents, which he took from the White House in January 2021 and put in boxes at his Florida resort of Mar-a-Lago. The former president reportedly refused to return the documents to the National Archives, which contained nuclear and military secrets of a foreign power. This led to an FBI raid in the summer of 2013 and Garland's appointment of Special Prosecutor Jack Smith to investigate the matter in November. Carl Tobias, a Williams professor of law at the University of Richmond, stated, "There are big differences between Trump's situation on the one hand and Biden and Pence on the other." According to the FBI, Trump had several hundred classified documents and 11,000 documents, most of which were located at Mar-a-Lago. Only a small number, maybe 25, have been classified so far with Biden, and it appears even smaller with Pence. Also, if you look at Pence and Biden's actions, they may be reckless or negligent. Unlike Trump, who appears to have no intention of doing anything, there is no indication of that. Those distinctions are quite significant. Despite this, the incident is embarrassing for Pence, who insisted. When ABC News asked him in November if he had taken classified information from the White House, he stated, "I did not." He quickly received support from political allies. Elise Stefanik, the House Republican Conference chair and a congresswoman from New York who is a Trump supporter, told reporters that Pence did nothing wrong while claiming, without providing any evidence, that a weaponized FBI was working on a cover-up to protect Biden. According to Tobias, the episodes also pointed to a problem with the government's classification system. Every year, hundreds of thousands of classified documents are produced. It is challenging to keep track of all of them, and we may have an issue with overclassification. He added, perhaps Congress would pass legislation to attempt to address that. You can't expect all of the documents to be tracked because there are so many of them. People ought to be more cautious when handling the documents, but they shouldn't categorize everything to the point where you can't handle it. Before leaving the White House, the offices of 3 living former presidents, Bill Clinton, George W. Bush, and Barack Obama, permitted all classified documents to be transferred to the National Archives, as did the office of George H.W. Bush. Fox reported that legal analyst Chris Swecker, a former FBI assistant director, was concerned about the apparent failure to do so by 3 White House occupants. These politicians must comprehend where this data originates.